Hey y'all, I wanted to come on and just give a recap of our rim to rim experience for the Grand Canyon that we completed back on the 29th. So I would say it was probably about 12 weeks that we prepared for this journey. My friend Jessica up in Illinois called us up and said, "Hey, you want to hike the rim to rim?" So my initial response was, "Yeah." My second response was, "I don't think so," because initially we were going to do this hike June 11th, and I thought about the heat. And I'm in Florida. It is hot here, as y'all know if you're in Florida right now. And so to travel to another hot place was not really sounding like the best idea. So we decided, my husband and I, no, I don't think so. Not in the heat, not in the spring, late spring, summer heat. Well, I started researching it more and I'm thought to myself how intense this trek sounded, and that got me excited. Y'all might know that we did the Salcantay Trail in Peru in December, and I always, not always, let's be honest. When I was younger, I had a time where I hated the outdoors, but when I was really young, I liked the outdoors. At a period where I did not like being outside, couldn't stand the bugs in the dirt, and now fast forward to my adult life, I love the outdoors. But in December, I really caught the hiking bug. So when I saw the intensity of doing the rim to rim in the Grand Canyon, it really got my attention, and I decided I'm going for it. And so my husband, being the way he is, was like, "I can't let you go on your own. I need to be there." And so he joined, which I'm so grateful that he did. You know, it's so important when we're taking these kinds of journeys, if we're rather novice like myself, to have that support. So I'm really grateful that he was there. So we trained for about 12 weeks. The training I took a lot more seriously than I did my training for Peru. And I must say that the first day of hiking Salcantay, with the weather being cold, the elevation like it was, not being able to catch my breath and adjust to the altitude, I think that the rim to rim was easier. It was longer. It took us about 15 hours. We took a ton of breaks, but I think overall it was actually easier. When I say easier, by no means was it easy at all. I took training seriously. We put in some long hikes, as much hiking as you can do in Florida. Definitely added extra weight into my backpack and tried out all my gear. Lots of running, walking, lots of strength training for the legs. And as y'all know, like I said, it's super hot here, so the heat was really not a big deal. One thing that I wish we would have done differently is we flew out on a Wednesday. We got to our lodge on the South Rim around 6, something like that. And we got up at 2:30 in the morning to hike the next day. It would have been nice to have a buffer day just to get settled in, enjoy the rim a little bit more, and stretch my legs out because I was injured. So I started off this hike injured, and I was actually thinking, am I going to be able to even do this hike? And with that, I was just trying to really have faith and trust that if I couldn't, there was a really valuable lesson there for me. Thank God. I'm really grateful that I was able to, especially because my husband and Jess were like, if you can't do it, we're going to turn back around with you and we're not going to do it. And the way that I am, I would just rather go back up on my own and drive 4.5 hours, 5 hours to the North Rim from the South Rim to meet up with them. But thank God none of that had to happen. I was able to hike. So thank God I went to my chiropractor. I went to physical therapy the day before, had my knee taped up, and really thankful for the hiking poles. So I used to be too cool for hiking poles or not think that I needed them or not really understand the value of them. Highly recommend, especially if you're ever going to do rim to rim, to get hiking poles. It saved me. My upper body was a little bit sore because I put so much weight on my poles, especially going down, which is fine. I love arm workouts. And it saved me from falling down multiple times, and it really just offloaded the knee injury, the IT band situation that I'm dealing with. So if you're going on a longer hike, or maybe you're new to hiking, or you have some kind of injury, use your hiking poles. Get hiking poles. We rented them out there. They were inexpensive. They were like $7 to rent. So on the hike, my bag probably weighed anywhere from 15 to 20 pounds. Really glad that I actually brought my 36-liter Gregory bag that had like a full waist strap and the strap across the top. When I tested my gear initially, I was going to go with my Osprey 30 liter, which is uh, is so much smaller, really 6 liter smaller, but wow, it looks so much more compact. But for comfort, I'm taller. I think just having that waist support, it was so good. I had no issues whatsoever with my backpack, and I'm very happy with that. Like I said, my backpack was probably anywhere between 15 and 20 pounds, which felt super light. Carried a lot of water, probably almost at any given time, anytime I could fill up. I had anywhere from like 4 to 4.5-ish liters is what I kept on me. There are lots of fill stations down there, so that was really good. We had a water filter with us just in case. We never had to use it, but I think it would be really important to just have that with you. God forbid the water line gets cut. That day that we were down there, somebody did actually get airlifted out from heat stroke. And there was somebody who was telling us that story. Her brother, I guess, was also down there with heat exhaustion, throwing up, super dehydrated, and fortunately was able to make it out. Those particular people started their hike at 5 a.m. They did not finish until 3 a.m. So they were in the canyon almost 22 hours. So again, I think it's just important when you're doing a big strenuous hike like this, especially in the heat, to keep the water supply up. And that's definitely what I did. I had enough food to last me for probably 3 days. I was not going to go hungry. I know myself. I do like to eat, get quite an appetite when I'm hiking. And I didn't want to starve down there, even though there are plenty of people. And unless you go off the trail, I don't think there's going to be, I could be wrong, any starving happening. If you stay on the main trail, there's plenty of people. But I had at least half of my food left afterwards. So we still have tons of snacks. We have snacks for days. What I really enjoyed for snacks were these Annie's, like chewies, like fruit snacks. I like them. They don't have any dyes in them. They're like have natural ingredients. They're packed full of sugar, but they were delicious. I really liked those. Had some protein bars, some trail mix, chomp, these like chomp sausage sticks. What else? We did some goos and then used Element electrolyte replacement. I think I went through 30 packs of that during the hike. One thing that I wish I would have had more of, but thank God Jess did, was caffeine for in the afternoon, because come the afternoon, about 12-ish hours in, 11 hours in, I was really kind of just, okay, I'm ready to be done with this. So I would have liked to have, a caffeine supply for the afternoon. But again, caffeine can dehydrate you, and we want to really be mindful of hydration when we're in environments like this. Anytime, but especially if you're sick or you're sweating a lot or exerting a lot of physical activity, hydration is so important. And you don't want to just pound a ton of water. You want to also make sure you're replacing those electrolytes too, because that's one of the things that people can run into is hyponatremia, low sodium levels from drinking way too much water toxicity if you're just like drowning yourself with water. But that wasn't the case for me. I have I would say between like 7 and 8 liters while I was in the canyon. It was crazy how much water I was taking in. We took tons of breaks. So this is different than when we did Peru. I look back and say, oh, okay, we've already learned a lot on these hiking experiences, and I'm sure we're going to learn so much more as we go. In Peru, we barely took any breaks. I don't even know what our snack was. Maybe I had like a couple RX bars, didn't really have a whole lot of snacks with, with me. And then I drank some water, and I think I had like a Powerade or something. Here, I made sure like every hour I was taking in snacks. I was definitely staying hydrated. We stayed on top of each other to remember to drink, because if you have that Camelback, not always it's easy to just keep track of how much you're drinking because you can't see how much you have back there. So drank a lot of water. My gear, my shoes, we all had Ultra shoes, and we were all very happy with them. I was the only one who ended up with a blister, but I think because I had put so many miles on these shoes when we did El Camino Santiago back in 21, and by all rights, I probably needed a new pair. The tread was pretty darn thin, but needless to say, the shoes held up. I did see a lot of regular like hiking shoes, a lot of Ultras, and Hoka's shoes on the trail as well. Some people also wore boots. Really glad, I want to shout out to my girl Laura, that I did not wear hiking boots, because initially I was going to do that, and they're like over a pound each, super heavy, super clunky in this kind of heat and this kind of trail. It wasn't necessary for me. I love that on these kinds of experiences, it really for me is a really mindful practice, not thinking about business or work or goals or life's mysteries or problems. It's really for me just such a beautiful time to just be with my people that are there, be in nature, one step at a time, one breath at a time. And so I love the practice, the way of living of mindfulness to really practice being in our life, accepting ourselves, accepting life, accepting one another, and practicing from that place, living from that place of kindness, of compassion. So that is such a beautiful practice that translates whether you're hiking, whether you're in conversation. I know for a lot of my clients, it's been, a saving grace when we start to learn to not be so controlled by the mind. Like I've had clients navigating really hard times, such as health scares and diagnosis and potential divorce. And so this practice of mindfulness, this practice of being able to bring ourselves back, to come back to the breath, to practice really just being right here in this moment. It has such a regulating effect on our nervous system and also such a profound effect on our mental well-being and even our physical well-being. So I love that about hiking so much that tomorrow I'm heading out. I'm going to be doing some more hiking up in Maine, and definitely can just see how important that time in nature is. The time is to be with people that I care about, that care about me, and just get off the beaten path, right? Just do that adventure therapy. The canyon was so beautiful, so beautiful. There was an area called the Hot Box that took forever, it felt like, to get through, but honestly, we were there early enough. It wasn't really that bad for us. I think coming from Florida, again, huge advantage. We did wet our UV shirts a lot in the really cold creek, wetted our hats, wet the gaiter that I wore around my neck, and I'm so glad I did. So if anybody's going into the canyon this time of year, definitely do it, even if you think you don't need to. We did get into the creek. It felt like a cold plunge. It felt like it might have been 55 degrees. It was so refreshing. They do give a lot of warnings of being really careful with the creeks down there, because what can happen is you go into cold shock, you catch your breath, you get hit with some water, you get caught up in a current, and off you go. And because it's so cold, you're coming from such high heat to such cold, the muscles, really just have a hard time. And even people who are great swimmers can really get themselves in trouble. And that's actually one of the top threats, believe it or not, down in the canyon is drowning. But we were in a really shallow area and really careful. And it was so cold, we didn't need too much time in there. So we finished around 6:15. We had a lot of things just work out for us. I was so grateful that we made it in time for the 6:30 shuttle. We didn't know if we were going to make it in time. We also did not pre-book it. Thank God he gave us a ride, because it was 1.7 miles to our lodge, but there's no, sidewalk. It's a winding road. And after being down there all day, I didn't want to walk anymore. Was ready to be done. One of the things that really caught me up at the end was we thought we had 3 more miles. And as you know, you crawl down, crawl, walk, whatever you do, hike down the canyon run. There are people running down the canyon. Then it's, pretty flat, really. And then you spend the last part hiking up. So you're going up at the end when you've been, exerted all your energy all day, and it's later in the day. We thought we had 3 hours. Instead, we had probably, or 3 miles. Instead, we probably had about 6, maybe even 7. I don't know. It took forever to go. And so that was definitely a mental game. It just goes to show the power of the mind, because by then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to be done. But then I'd come back and, okay, wait, well, why am I rushing this? Let me practice being really out here in nature. Let me just one step at a time. We'll get there. But we made it to the shuttle. So happy to do so. My knee, thank God, my knee was okay. I really am grateful that Mike at Improved Motions was able to get me in, see me, take care of that, take my knee up. Some things that I would have done differently if I was to do this again. I think I would have even trained a little bit longer, maybe a little bit more intensely. always learning. I've been a trainer now. This year will be 10 years, and I feel like there's always just so much to learn in the world of movement and fitness, and also meeting our bodies where they're at. Because our body, my body when I was 30 is different than my body now that I'm about to be 40. So it's always changing, and learning how to work with the body is so important. I would have maybe not brought quite as many snacks, although it was such a comfort. We would have gave ourselves that extra day of to really get settled in. And if we do it again, I'd like to camp, because although we were pretty confident once we made it to Phantom Ranch and hand wrote post-it cards to be brought up by mule and shipped away to our loved ones, mailed away. From that point on, we felt pretty confident, like, okay, we're all in good shape. This is going to happen. We can do this. I think it'd be nice to spend more time down there and really just be able to like kick my feet back, enjoy the views, enjoy the canyon, be under the stars, those kinds of things. So I think if we ever do it again, I would like to do that. So, that being said, feel free to ask me absolutely any questions that you have. I also want to tell you about the barista that we met on the North Rim, which the North Rim, by the way, is so much quieter than the South Rim. I had only been to the South Rim previously a couple times, never been to North Rim. Much more quiet over there. But our barista, we asked him, a lot of seasonal workers too, have you done the rim to rim before? And he said, oh, yeah, I've done it 5 times. Haven't done it yet this season. I said, oh, okay. How long does it take you? 4 hours. This guy starts at 6 p.m. at night and runs it back and forth. Mind you, it took us 15 hours to hike it with lots of stuff, just 4 hours. So I thought that was really cool that he's able to do that in 4 hours. He said he can do a rim to rim to rim in 10 and thinks he could do it under 8. Kudos to those people running. I needed my slow, steady, mindful steps, because I think I might have fallen off the edge if I was not walking in that way. That is quite the skill set. So, yes, please ask me any questions that you have. And also, if you're looking for an adventure, this October we do have our adventure wellness retreat in Costa Rica. So, it is always a good time when we get together. We have people coming on retreat with us who've already been on retreat with us 4 times, who've been to the same location multiple times, because it is so special. We have such a great time. It really is a healing environment, but such a fun and peaceful place to be. And it's a week that can make such a huge positive impact in your life and really be the foundation for deep healing, for healthy habits, for meeting people that you might even be friends with the rest of your life. So if you're interested in learning more about the Costa Rica Adventure Wellness Retreat, I'll go ahead, I'll link that information as well. And I look forward to hearing from you. What is your next adventure? And for some of us, it's not possible to maybe travel, or adventure looks different than going down a canyon on a big hike in the heat. What is your adventure? We all have our different flavor, but I really believe that adventure gets us out of our comfort zone. It helps us embrace uncertainty. It gets us to know different parts of us. And it also can put us in places and spaces where we get to be in service, but we also get to be supported. Because I can tell you that the encouragement and the love and the care from my husband and my friend Jessica and other hikers on the trail really made the experience that much more possible. So I'd love to hear from you. Any questions, comments? Where's your next adventure? And maybe you'll be joining us in Costa Rica in October. All right, take care. Bye.